Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
The Black and Gold Banneret podcast is brought to you by the Unger Real Estate Group, powered by eXp Realty, proudly serving Orange, Seminole, and Lake counties. Call 407-790-9957 or visit WeSellOrlando.net. Welcome to the Black and Gold Banneret podcast summer sessions. Jeff Sharon with you here. And we continue our summer sessions this week here as the dog days of summer continue with one of UCF's most beloved athletes from this past year. From the women's soccer team, Morgan Ferrara joins us on the Black and Gold Banneret podcast. Morgan, you'll remember, just finished her tenure at UCF. She was, among other things, off the field, president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Did so much work off the field for her fellow student athletes at UCF and was really beloved. She won our 2018 Black and Gold Banneret postseason award for Female Athlete of the Year, and she was just recently announced as a nominee for NCAA Woman of the Year. Last year, her senior season in 2017 was her best season amongst three really good seasons that she's had at UCF under head coach Tiffany Roberts-Sahadak. She was the American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year, made first team in the conference, and led the team in goals with 13. 6 of them were game winners. She was just everywhere on the field for UCF and seemingly everywhere off of it as well. And she had a little after her UCF soccer career ended, she spent a little bit of time with the Orlando Pride, but decided to move her post-college career in a different direction, which she broke the news to us during this interview. So you'll hear about that here in just a moment. Just a reminder for you, this is, again, we are continuing to post content all summer long on blackandgoldbanneret.com. Make sure you follow us there. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/blackandgoldbanneret, and also on Twitter at UCF_Banneret. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeff_Sharon, and don't forget to follow my compadres here at the site. Brian Murphy at Spokes_Murphy, and Eric Lopez at Eric Lopez Elo. And by the way, if you don't already subscribe to this podcast, make sure you do on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn, wherever fine podcasts are distributed, whatever your preferred platform is. All right, so without further ado, let's get to it. UCF women's soccer star Morgan Ferrara joining me and Eric Lopez here on the Black and Gold Banneret podcast Summer Sessions. And joining us now, she is, just recently completed her career at UCF. Highly decorated women's soccer player, the 2018 Black and Gold Banneret Female Athlete of the Year. She's also a nominee for the 2018 NCAA Women of the Year Award. And most importantly, she is an excellent piano player, which means she is totally my spirit animal. Morgan Ferrara joining us here on the Black and Gold Banneret podcast Summer Sessions. How are you, Mo?
Hey, guys. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Well, first, congratulations on the nomination for the NCAA award. Congratulations on, and we haven't even had the opportunity, Eric and I, to really congratulate you on such an outstanding career. Is it weird, like, now realizing that, like, I don't have to get ready for, to play, this summer, right? Because the season's right around the corner.
Yes. It is so weird. I can't even explain it. It's in some sense, it's almost relieving that I don't have to take the fitness test. But obviously, I'm super sad that I'm not going to be a part of it this year. But I can't wait to see what they do going forward.
What do you think you're going to miss the most?
Oh, geez, my teammates. That's simple as that. We had such a camaraderie and such a love for each other this year, and we always talked about how special our senior year was with such a large group of seniors. Just the love and enjoying going out to practice every day and every game, and just loving on Tiff and Tim and Chris. It was such a special year, so I'm definitely going to miss the camaraderie the most.
Now, you were going to be around the game. I don't know if I wasn't aware of this until we talked, but let UCF fans know what you're going to be doing this fall, because you're still going to be around in soccer matches in a different capacity.
Yeah, actually, I got super lucky. So I went overseas for a little while to play after I left the Pride, and I didn't love it that much. So I had a 26-hour trip home from France. So I had a lot of time to reflect on what I really wanted to do. And we talk about in the SOD office, Student Athlete Welfare and Development, finding our identity after sport. So I really had some time to reflect and think on what I wanted to do. And I've kind of known all along I wanted to coach. I'm not positive that's what I want to do for the rest of my life, but when I got home from France, I happened to kind of stumble upon the job a little bit. Eastern Kentucky University, they were looking for an assistant coach, and I got home from France, and literally the next week I was on the phone with the head coach, Nick Flory. He's great. I went up to Richmond, Kentucky, where EKU is, and they offered me the job, and I think it's going to be a great fit. So I'm going to be coaching at Eastern Kentucky, and I'm going to also be pursuing a master's in sports science. So I got super lucky with the opportunity. It found me. I found it. It just worked out. It seemed like the timing worked out perfect. So I'm really excited to still be around the game.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that. You're right. I mean,
I appreciate that.
People forget, I think that everyone thinks about, the transition from student athlete to post-student athlete in terms of what we hear with football and men's basketball. And
right.
And the truth, I mean, there really is a lot of truth to that NCAA commercial that says that there are, how many thousand student athletes that go pro in something other than sports. And, I mean, even though you are kind of going pro in sports, you're not playing professionally, and you get to pass along your knowledge. I mean, you said before, I know I saw this in studying up on you, that, you said you wanted to be a coach as well when you got done being a player. How long have you said you wanted to be a coach, and what made you really decide that?
So for the longest time, I thought I wanted to pursue more of the business side of it, athletic director, that side of it. But I actually had the opportunity through UCF to go to the NCAA Career and Sports Forum up at the NCAA headquarters. I went to that this summer going into my senior year. And I actually we had a bunch of different speakers. It was a 4-day event, awesome event. The speaker on the last day, his name was Jason Burton. He's the head women's basketball coach at Texas A&M Commerce. He made a speech about his experience coaching, and it kind of just hit me like a bus, like, dang, maybe this is what I want to do. So I actually went there to see if I liked the athletic director role side of it, and came out learning what I didn't want to do and the fact that I did want to coach. So I think that above all, teaching soccer and giving back to the game, I really want to influence girls that are around this age. Like Tiff has had such an influence on me, so I really got lucky.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was when you talked to Tiff, what did she tell you about becoming a coach? And
it was funny because it was right around our summer camp time when I was talking to the Eastern Kentucky coach, and I hadn't even got the chance to fill her in about France and how I had been having these feelings dang, maybe it is time to hang him up. So I actually put her on my reference list, and I called her and I was like, hey, Tiff, a coach is about to call you. Just heads up, I might not play anymore. So I kind of dumped it on her at once. But obviously she had a ton of words of encouragement. She also said, you have no idea what you're in for, because obviously as student athletes, we don't know the extent of what our coaches do. So she said, you're going to be in for it, but I know you can do it. So obviously had a bunch of words of encouragement, but definitely warned me about the workload that I'm about to pursue.
Well, how did she influence you? Because, I mean, you obviously played for her. I could probably tell that you'll probably take some things that you kind of observed from her, the way her style, into your style of coaching, perhaps, right?
Right. Right. It's funny. I had that conversation with my parents last night because I actually transferred to UCF. Most people don't know that. I came from Mississippi State University. And so I think having my experience there, I learned a lot of how I don't want to be as a coach. And Mint is the best way. Like, I learned a lot, but I also learned how I want to treat people. And I think Tiff's biggest thing that I always loved about her is before playing, before fitness, before anything, before school, like, above everything is love, and loving your teammates, loving your coaches, and that camaraderie that I spoke about before. So I think when I talked to the head coach of Eastern Kentucky, his first question to me was, what makes a team successful? And I immediately thought about, well, what was it this senior year that made it so special? And above all, it was the team chemistry. It was the love we have for each other. So I know when eventually I'll be a head coach, that's the first thing I want to do is establish that team culture. And if you can establish that team culture, I think with us, with football, that having the success they did, I think it all stemmed from the coaching. So,
yeah, I'm glad you brought up that point about that most people kind of forget that you transferred here. It seems like you've been at UCF for so long. It's almost like you've become.
I know.
It's easy to. I mean, you were at Mississippi State in 2014 in the SEC, highly competitive. I mean, you started. You had 3 starts that year as a freshman. I mean, that's pretty good. Then you decide to come to UCF, and I know you're a Florida kid initially. I know you're from the Tampa area, so
Right.
Take us back to what brought you to UCF. What made you decide I want to come back to the Sunshine State?
Right. Oh, shoot. I get asked this question a lot. I think that when I committed to Mississippi State, I was 15 years old. So I think at 15 years old, you don't really know what you want, what you're in for. And although I have so much love for Mississippi State, was my dream school, to be completely honest with you. As much as I loved it and as much as I loved my teammates, I wanted to be on a team where I could chase success. And I'm a huge competitor. I wanted to win, and I knew that at Mississippi State things weren't exactly how I wanted them to be. So I actually, what's funny is I found UCF kind of found me. That's Bridget Callahan in the background, if you can hear her. But UCF, sorry about that.
It's all right.
So my freshman year, I actually visited UCF it was over winter break. So I left Mississippi State in December, and I visited 4 schools and committed to UCF within a week. So everything kind of happened super fast.
Wow.
I knew what I was looking for. All I wanted in the school was to have coaches that loved me. And I knew when I met Tiff and Tim, that's the environment I wanted to play in. So to be completely transparent with you, when I got to UCF the end of my freshman year, I literally, it was not an easy transition. I didn't like it, to be completely honest with you. I was like, what did I just do? I was sitting in my dorm room. I had no friends, and I was like, what the heck did I just do? And then it's funny, me and Tiff laugh about it all the time, because if you told her my freshman year when I first got there that by my senior year I'd be president of SAC or offensive player of the year, if you told her that, she would literally laugh in your face. That's how rough of a transition it was. But I know that I definitely found my home at UCF, and it was the best decision of my life by far. But I actually just this past weekend went to a wedding of one of my Mississippi State teammates, so I'm still really cool with all of them, and there was no bad blood. They understood, and they were happy for me.
Yeah.
What was the turning point when you mentioned it was rough at first, which is all normal. Transfer.
Man.
But was there a turning point?
What was the turning point? Wow, that's a good question. As I spoke, Bridget Callahan, she's my best friend. She actually is the one that got me here. Tiff had actually never seen me play when I committed to UCF. Fun fact. So once I got acclimated, I came in the spring of 2015. So that first semester was very rough. But once I got to the fall, and I was like, dang, this team can play. Like, I'm about to be challenged physically, mentally, emotionally. I think that's when I really got a hold on things. Definitely my sophomore and junior year, I got acclimated, and I was like, all right, like, I can make a life here. I started to make friends, started to get the hang of it soccer-wise. It was obviously a huge step up. So once I made that step, I think I definitely got acclimated.
The 3 years that you spent at UCF, 15, 16, 17, you guys made the NCAA in 2015. 16 was kind of a tough year, kind of a rebuilding year. I think a couple people got hurt, and things didn't quite work out. But then last year, you guys go on this run, unbeaten in conference, 13-2-3, win the American regular season championship. what is it like for those of us who are mere humans? What is it like to win a championship as a college athlete? I'm always just fascinated by not just that one moment, but like what it takes for everything to come together in that 3 to 4 month span.
Oh man, I just got chills. You just saying that. Like I said before, this year we just had. It's hard. It's hard to describe if you weren't a part of it. We just had such a special chemistry and just a love for each other, and it was just so different than any team I've ever been a part of my entire life. But winning that championship on senior night against USF, it's a feeling I could never replace. Probably one of the best nights of my life. I had all my family there, and we had 10 seniors, so obviously senior night's emotional as is. The whole football team showed up on buses. Like, I'm about to tear up just talking about it. But yeah, it's the best feeling in the world. To play for your school, to play for the girl next to you. It was so special this year. And although obviously I wish them the best of luck, like I just can't imagine a team having such chemistry as we had last year.
Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say you mentioned that. I mean, people forget this now, but you weren't picked very high in the preseason going into last year.
We weren't.
Kind of not forget that.
Right.
And what I remember is that home opener, and I remember interviewing you, and you're part of a group, and I remember you look in your eyes, and you were locked in, you were intent, but you had confidence that this was a different year. And I remember you said that pretty much after that first home opener. How did you know then what was to come? Because you were very confident back then. And I'm like, wow, this is a different team.
In preseason, we established it from the start. Like, this year was going to be special. We were going to win championships. And we said it every year. Obviously, our goal was to win the American Conference. But I can't even describe it to you. I don't know. I think most importantly, it was we had such a senior class full of all 10 of us were so different, but it just worked. We had such a leadership in our class, and I think that stemmed from it. That's how we knew it was going to be so successful. But just throughout the entire preseason, I knew we had something different going on than the previous years. I was super confident that we were gonna have a successful year.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more with Morgan Ferrara after this. The Black and Gold Banneret podcast is brought to you by the Unger Real Estate Group, powered by eXp Realty. Sam Unger and his team proudly serve Orange, Seminole, and Lake counties, specializing in buying, selling, and new construction. Sam is a proud UCF graduate, class of 2006, and he's such a dedicated Knight fan that right now, if you work with him as your realtor, he will donate a portion of his commission to the UCF Football Excellence Fund in your name. So if you're ready to buy a new home or sell your current home, upgrade or downsize, Sam and his team have you covered so you can find the right home at the right price in the right location. So give him a call right now at 407-790-9957. Again, that's 407-790-9957. Or visit on the web at WeSellOrlando.net. Again, that's WeSellOrlando.net. You can also reach them on Facebook at facebook.com/WeSellOrlando. Get in touch with the Unger Real Estate Group today and make finding your dream home a reality.
Hello, Knight Nation. I'm Andrew Fegley.
And I'm Trey Strelko. Where are we? This isn't our usual spot.
It looks like we've landed in the Black and Gold Banneret podcast.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of those guys.
You know, Nightline has UCF sports covered.
Week in and week out, we bring you interviews with newsmakers and in-depth analysis of UCF sports.
Subscribe to our weekly podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Be sure to subscribe to Nightline on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at UCF_Nightline.
Trace, can we go back to the 1148 studios now and start working on our next all-new Nightline?
How do we get out of here? Go Knights!
Charge on.
Now back to you guys in the Black and Gold Banneret podcast.
Welcome back to the Black and Gold Banneret podcast summer sessions. Let's get back to our conversation with UCF women's soccer star Morgan Ferrara. The thing that I just am amazed by is the work that you do off the field as basically as a student athlete representative. And kind of not just with SAC, for UCF, but also with the American. You talked before about the work you've done with Knights Without Borders. being a college student athlete is hard enough when your only job is being a college student athlete and going to class, right? And you found the time, and more remarkably, I think, the energy to do all of those other things. What made you decide to get involved with things like Knights Without Borders and all that? And and for those of us who don't know enough about it, what is it about? What are the things that you guys do that you want fans to know about?
Well, I think Knights Without Borders, actually, we went to St. Vincent and the Grenadines actually the semester after I transferred to UCF. So I think Bridget was actually the one that was like, hey, sign up for this with me. I've always had an act for service. I think that as student athletes, we're given such a huge platform to give back. So when I signed up for that, I didn't really know what I was getting into, but that ended up being like a life-changing moment for me. My mom always calls it my coming-of-age moment. But I figured out then that I was really interested in service and how we could give back. And then I joined SAC the following year, my junior year. And then senior year, SAC president actually kind of got thrown upon me. I didn't think I would be ready for it, but once I got elected into the role, I was like, wow, like the platform I have here is huge. I got to serve on American SAC. I met some of my best friends on the American SAC from other schools.
Tell us about SAC, too, because I don't think a lot of people understand how important SAC is in the UCF athletic umbrella. Tell us about, first of all, what it is, and then what it really meant for you to do, like some of the things that you were able to do with SAC and the accomplishments that you had.
Right. Okay, so SAC stands for Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Every NCAA school has to have one. So the biggest thing we obviously focus on is service in the community, at school. But another big thing we do, so NCAA legislation, we get to vote on all of that, thankfully. Every year we get to vote on that. But as president, I got to serve on American SAC, like I said before, and I actually got to sit in on the board of directors meetings with Dr. White, President Hitt, Tony Nicholson, all of the donors, and I was the student athlete voice for that. And also I got to sit on the finance and audit committee. So I really got to see the ins and outs of college athletics, and I was blessed enough to take that information back to SAC and tell them what's going on in our athletic department and really be that bridge between the athletes and the athletic department. And everyone was so great. They obviously always wanted to know what we thought, hear our voice, and they were a huge help with our mental health awareness initiative. And I think going forward, it's only going to get better. I feel as if I like to think that I had a voice in those meetings and things like that. But we obviously, as a SAC, we got to do a bunch of different things, service initiatives around the holidays, service initiatives throughout the community. We got to vote on the NCAA legislation, as I spoke on before. So we plan the Swords Awards every year, and we really focus on how we can make the student athlete experience better. So SAC is one of my favorite things about being a college athlete, and I always encourage my younger teammates to get involved as young as possible, because I wish I would have got involved younger, because there's really so much to be done.
So you're involved in all this off the field. Now, meanwhile, you're playing, and not only that, you're playing at the highest level of your career. You had an incredible senior year, player of the year in the conference. You're scoring goals. Mo goals became the fun part. And every time we looked on Twitter, every time we saw Mo goals, that means it was a good day for UCF. I mean, how are you able to play at their highest level while meanwhile you're doing all these things off the field?
I was a product of my teammates, that's for sure. All of my success is due to them. I had the easy job, as I like to say. They give me the ball and I score. That was the easy job. So I was always a product of their hard work and a product of my coaches. Obviously, it does get stressful. It got stressful at times, being in my senior year, finishing up my degree. But on the field, that was the easy part. That was the part where I got to do the fun stuff. I put in the work in the off season, and I knew by the time season rolled around, I was going to be ready.
I know I told you about, obviously, that home opener. You had beaten Stetson, and you said you were confident you knew then. Obviously, the next match was North Carolina. Everybody knows who they are in women's soccer. Me and Jeff were there. That was a classic. Take me through that match.
Man.
I mean, and that had to give. If there was any questions, whether you can hear it in her voice though. What do you think about the North Carolina match? Because that really kind of jump-started your year to have the year that you had.
It did. It definitely, as we said throughout the whole season, keep it rolling. That started with UNC, and Christine Creighton to score that overtime winner I just can't even put it into words. But the thing that was so special about this team, like, obviously I love scoring goals, but I couldn't have picked a better person to score the winning goal in that game. I wouldn't even wanted to score it. If you watch the video, Christine had just come on the field for me, and I'm the first one on the field running, screaming like a maniac to get to the team. And obviously Tiff being a UNC alumni, we wanted to win that game for her. And we knew we could compete. We knew we could compete with any team in the country because Tiff ingrained that in our minds. We were good enough. We had the talent. We had the work ethic. So beating UNC was just a jump start to the successful season that we got to have.
Yeah, it was. What a moment that was. The last two, since I've covered UCF, I was a student from 01 to 05. Mm-hmm. And then I worked in the athletic department in 08 and from 08 to 10. And, I was there for a game where UCF, I think, beat number 4 Florida State in overtime in, I think it was 08. I'm not 100% sure.
Courtney Whitten.
Courtney Whitten. And then that one, those are the two greatest games I think I've ever seen. From UCF, and to see that happen again, it was just so awesome. So let me ask you about. We talk so much about everything going on, off the field with you, but I love the fact that you play the piano. That you're it's something that not everyone really, I think, appreciates some of the things that a lot of student athletes do off the field that are kind of your hobbies.
Right.
And I think the thing that they said was you're a lot of fun to bring on the road because if there's a hotel or something that has a piano, exactly, you're there. So when did you take up the piano, and like how much do you play, and how'd you get into it?
I'm sitting at home right now, and I'm looking at our piano that we have in my house, and it's always been the way that me and my dad connected. He's a little Beethoven over there, but he taught me everything I knew, and it's always sometimes soccer can become more like a job than a hobby, so it's always been an escape. I love music. I love all sorts of music, so I think I play by ear. I can read music, but I play by ear, so it's always been an escape for me and just a love. I play a couple other instruments too, so it's always just been something fun to do besides soccer, and a fun little party trick that most people didn't know. I remember the first time I played on the road, they were like, "What the heck? Like, you could play the piano like that?" So on the road and stuff, at teammates' house, they would always love for me to play and just be entertained and just see that we're not just student athletes. Like, we have another side to us.
What's the key to being a good piano player?
Oh, geez.
No pun intended, by the way.
For me, it's just playing from your heart. You just, whatever you feel, just play. I think it's actually like, I always say soccer, I've always just worked really hard at. I think that music is like my natural gift because I don't work hard at it at all, and it just kind of happens. So I think just feeling it from your heart and playing. What's your favorite song? Oh, geez, that's impossible. favorite song to play? Yeah. Don't Stop Believin' is always a crowd favorite. The last 10 years, it's like everyone. If you learn piano, it's like everyone wants to learn that song. Right. Oh, you have Don't Stop Believin'. Yeah, I do know that one. That's always a crowd favorite. I like anything really. I'll play anything I can learn. My dad will usually learn it and then teach it to me, or I'll just look on YouTube and try to figure it out. So, Yeah, I would say that's probably my favorite. It always gets everyone up and moving.
Nice. Now, I got to know the story now. Every time UCF played, every time you scored, there was a Mogos. Usually they showed you on video on the social media on UCF Soccer. Whose idea was that? And did you? How did that feel? You had to be happy because you meant you scored goals and you were winning. But at the same time, here we go. We got a video. We got to shoot Morgan after the game.
Oh, goodness. Oh, man. I think my junior year, when I started to break through on the net, our SID, Bill Morrison, actually came up with it, and it kind of just stuck. It kind of had a good flow to it. I didn't really try to pay much attention to it during the season. I tried to stay off social media, but it was always a fun little hashtag. They kind of came up with a bunch of different ones. But yeah, I just tried to, if I had an interview after the game or if they wanted to take pictures or talk, I always tried to credit my teammates because at the end of the day, that was who it was about.
Cool.
No, that was enjoyable. We enjoyed that in the senior year. Now, now Jeff and I did we did this thing called the Bannies recently. We had fans vote.
I listened to that.
You did,
Right.
and so you know that you won the award for UCF Female Athlete of the Year, which was voted by UCF fans. How does that make you feel that the fans went out of the way and they voted for you as the UCF Athlete of the Year?
I mean, it's awesome. I'm very thankful for everyone that voted. I'm thankful for people paying attention to women's soccer, most importantly, and getting us on the board because as football did have a great season, we did too. So it's good to see people care. And even though I won that award, like I said, that's my teammates. So it's just a victory for women's soccer.
Well, it was great watching you play at UCF, Morgan, and we're going to miss that a lot. But
me too.
We're so happy that that you're staying in the game at Eastern Kentucky. When do you head up to start the job?
I actually leave on Friday. So.
Wow. Okay. Are you all packed up yet?
Soon. Yep. No, I'm avoiding it. I just moved home from Orlando, so I just packed. But yeah, I'll be on the road on Friday. Our preseason starts August 1st, just like UCF. So next weekend, we'll be planning preseason, getting all of our cards in line, and I'll be taking on the new role, and I'll be on the other side of the fitness test for once. So this should be fun.
Well, we're looking forward to following you. I know we'll be following you this year and following Eastern Kentucky, and we're so thankful that you spent the time with us. Like we said, stay in touch, and congratulations on all you've accomplished, and best of luck at Eastern Kentucky. Hopefully, we'll see you down here in Orlando sooner rather than later.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
All right, Morgan Ferrara. And by the way, if UCF fans want to get in touch with you, Mo, how can they do that? Are you on social media?
Yeah, Twitter at Morgan Ferrara and Instagram at MPKicks again. Feel free to contact me whenever. I love UCF. I'm going to try to be around as much as possible at football games or at basketball games, soccer games, if I can get out of it. Softball games, I'll be there. So just
good. I know we'll see you there.
message me on social media. If you hear these two in the background, I got some softball players at my house. Got some Bridget at my house. So yeah, anytime on social media, I'll definitely respond. I love UCF, and I always want to stay connected with the fans.
Cool. Thanks, Mo.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Thanks for having me.
And Eric and I would like to thank Morgan for joining us on the podcast. We wish her best of luck at Eastern Kentucky. And again, like you said, make sure you follow her on social media at the handles that she just mentioned. Thank you once again as we wrap up this summer session of the Black and Gold Banneret podcast. We got a bunch of stuff coming for you as well in the next couple weeks. Some coaches interviews, some former players coming your way that we're working on. This should be a pretty busy month for us here on the podcast. Usually July to August, before football starts is when things kind of wind down for us. And we were winding down for a little bit, but now we're starting to pick things back up, and we're starting to smell football season right around the corner, and women's soccer season as well, which actually gets underway sooner than football season in mid-August, basically. Well, early August for the players, like Morgan was talking about. So be on the lookout for that as we head toward the 2018-2019 UCF athletic year. Once again, man, it is right around the corner. All right. Thanks again for listening. Thanks again to Morgan. Thanks to Eric for joining me for the interview. This has been the Black and Gold Banneret Podcast Summer Sessions.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.